Good a story time. Time to have a bit of fun as we continue life in isolation. James Bracey with you here. Andrew Johns, Johnathan, Thurston, Paul, Fatty Vautin. Hello, gents.
Hey, Brace.
James.
Brace.
Oh, well, what's the latest in that beautiful area you live, Fat, in isolation? What's been doing?
No, it's still pretty quiet. There's a lot of people still on the beach, though. I don't get the beach. I've lived next to the beach for 40 years. I've been onto it twice. There's just too much sand, seriously. And knowing my luck, I stick one toe in the water, I'm getting eaten by a shark. So I actually don't go to the beach, but I see them, and there's thousands of people walking up and down. A lot more people doing exercise these days that they normally wouldn't, because they're all stuck at home, I suppose.
Yeah, well, the joy I just had of seeing Joey's face when you said that you never went on the beach, but you live at the beach. JT, everything okay up in Townsville?
Yeah, everything's all good up here, mate. Just trying to entertain the kids every day, which can be challenging, but been teaching them to ride their bikes. I've been going for bike rides every morning with them.
Didn't one of them go over the handlebars last week?
Yeah, Charlie went over the handlebars. So
good teaching.
Well done, Dad.
Well, I was getting too confident with her, and instead of standing right behind her in case she comes off, I was on the side, running alongside beside her, and
shirt off.
Well,
yeah. Oh yeah, always, mate. Always got his shirt off.
Hey girls, always. JT's in town.
Have a look at me.
Well, if you had a rig like this, would you wear a shirt?
Mate, they call me the tontine pillow. I've got nothing.
The male getting around. If I was you, I wouldn't wear pants, JT.
Step that bit out. Hey, listen, boys. Before we get started,
sure, Fat.
JT tipped me. Gave me a really bad tip last week. He rang me. He said, "You'll find all this stuff on RedTube." So I tuned into RedTube. Mate, I can tell you a lot about she-males, but that's about it. So then I realised then it was supposed to be on YouTube. So I looked on YouTube. There's about 8 people have watched it, and they've all left a comment. So let me read some of the comments.
Brilliant.
Just from randoms. This is the most I've laughed in a week. This was brilliant and hilarious. This show should win a Logie. Loved it. Actually watched it right till the end. Miracle. They're the good ones.
Oh, no.
Fat's been talking crap since 1988. Nothing's changed. Love how Joey was a space cadet the whole time. Next bloke said, tell Joey to get back on the drugs.
Actually, I'll agree with him. Time to come around and see me.
JT adds nothing, but his laugh is worth it. That vacant North Queensland look on his face is priceless. And then the last couple, who is that Brace dude?
Yeah.
And then the reply to it was, don't know, but he is an excellent facilitator.
There you go. Yep. I may have.
And someone else said you're the best host on television as well, Brace. So well done.
Wow,
and
there we go. Couple of raps.
Those negative comments, they were sent in by Hugh Marks at Willoughby.
Yeah.
Anyone doesn't know Hugh Marks, he's the boss of Channel 9.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. Look at us. I'm glad someone watched it. That's a start. And we're back to have some more fun today. Let's go down memory lane. It's where the best stories usually lie. Back to where it all began. JT, do you remember when it all started for you, when you knew you wanted to be a footy player, what it was like, what you loved about it?
Yeah, so my mum's one of 13. She's got 9 brothers, so we always had uncles living with us and playing footy in the backyard. So they would rough us up a bit, me and my brothers. But I started playing when I was 6 years of age, and it wasn't until my teenage years that later in my teenage years that I started to think, I could really want to give this a crack, especially in grade 11 and 12. But those early years, my uncles and my father had a fairly big influence on me in rugby league.
Joey, does it change for everyone? Is it different for everyone? Like knowing when you might actually be able to take your footy to another level? Is it in your teens when you work it out?
I think it's a little bit different, especially for guys like myself and JT. I always wanted to, but I was so small. I didn't sort of grow till I was sort of 14, 15. And I'm talking literally half the size of a lot of guys. By 14, I don't even think I had feathers on it. I was that late bloomer. But then I
Let me ask you this: was your ass always big?
No.
'Cause, mate, you've got a massive shaminda.
Yeah, I know. That's from doing too many squats.
Okay, right.
But then what happens, because you're so small, you learn your trade. You learn how to avoid the big guys. You got to learn how to kick, how to pass, how to step. And then between the ages of 15 and 16, just grew that quick and then went, right, how good's this? And then probably around that age, about 16, 17, I sort of realised that that's what I really wanted to do.
And then you are up there on the big stage of all. What about for you, Fat? Because we actually dug into the archives to check out some of the goal from your early years along the way. And wow, look at this.
Look at that. Are you serious?
Through it all again. So there's, run us through these, Fat. So this is you as a little bub.
Yeah, I must be, 2 months old there. I'm about 6 there, I reckon, 4 or 5 or 6. What an attractive young child. There I am at First Communion. That helped a lot. I'm playing footy under 18s for West Mitchie. And it was around that time I thought, I love this. And I'm not too bad at it. And then I got signed by a senior club West while I was playing under 18s for $100 to then go on to the senior club, $100 a year. And I went over to Dad and I said, are you serious? They're actually paying me to play, Dad. He said, yeah, well, that's the modern day, So, and the next year after that, I was playing for first grade in West in Brisbane. And then I went down to, that's Padua College. There's West in Brisbane, Padua College. Could I get those pants up any higher, you reckon?
Mate, how can you have a camel toe? How does that work out?
Look at it.
Not hard.
You weed yourself there?
We got married and I got in the nude and my missus said, she said, I want a meal, not a snack. And there I am on the poster boy in the program right there, 18 years of age in the Brisbane program, rugby league program. And from there, I got signed, of course, to play for Manly. There I am there. That's playing Parramatta Brookie in about round 7 or 8 that year. I was 19 years old. I weighed 82 kilos. That's later in
St Helens.
I had a year at St Helens in 1988, 89. Loved it. I played the best footy I'd played in a long time over there. It was a great place.
He's still Gould.
That's me at 19.
And that's Gould.
I was pretending I've still got a crab on my crutch, pretending I had the crabs. At that time, not long after. So there you go.
That was brilliant. And I'm told we've actually got some vision going back to your playing days. This is the beauty of the Channel 9 archives of you, round 2, 1979, Newtown and Manly.
Yeah, this is my first grade game. And I took how good. Phil Sigsworth was chasing me in the corner there.
Is that Tommy O'Donoghue?
No, that's Barry Wood. Wood.
Okay.
Yeah, but mate, it was a great day. I mean, to be what happened was we played the Dragons. I went down there, got signed to play for men. I thought, I'm probably only going to get to reserve grade. But round 1, we played the Dragons at Cogra. It was a match of the day. Manly had won the comp in 1978. And then at half-time, Terry Randall came off. I played reserve grade. Terry Randall came off with a broken hand. And Frank Stanton, our coach, he looked around and he had some old veterans there he could have picked. And he said, Redhead, you'll do. And on I went. And then the next week I got picked to play first grade, made my first grade debut. And I had to find some coins when I got home from training and I had to go to the phone box, of course. You blokes wouldn't know about them, but the phone box, and I rang home Dad and, Mum, they both were crying that I'd made first grade. And that game we ran out and we won 10-6. I remember that day. And it was a great day, up against some old hardheads, Steve Blythe and Fred Pagano and all those sort of guys. And yeah, it was magnificent. It was the start of a, wonderful career at Manly.
And see, getting that call's one thing. What about actually making that call. Joey, have you ever over the years been able to actually ring someone or even tell them face to face that they're making their debut, whether it might be first grade or playing Origin or something along the way?
No, I've never been given that responsibility. Funny that.
Yeah.
Actually, I can remember one time. I can remember my first year of playing Origin in '95. Actually, when Fatty coached Queensland, when they beat us 3-0. So in those days, they announced the team on 2GB or something on the radio. So I'm at home with Mum and Dad. And that day, the old man gets a big tip on a greyhound at Wentworth Park. So me and the old man unleash on this dog at Wenny Park. So anyway, they're supposed to announce the team at 6:15. So they get caught up, and it's late. They end up announcing the team at about 6:30. Well, the dog races at 6:32. So we got the wireless in those days in Cessnock, listening in to whatever it is, 2GB or 2UE. And the bloke just starts waffling and waffling. The old man's going, that frigging dog's going to run in about 1 minute. What are we going to do? So we sent the old girl into the bedroom to listen to the radio in there.
As in your mum?
Yeah, the old girl.
Yes.
Yeah. To listen to the team, and me and the old man were listening to the greyhounds. So next thing they go, Bunny to the boxes, Bunny to the boxes. I could hear the old girl in the background go, you're in, loves, they've pictured halfback. And the old man's going, shut up, girl, we're trying to listen to this greyhound race. And the dog got beat.
Of course it did.
We got beaten Origin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't remember my first 2 Origins. I got knocked. Trevor Gilmeister knocked me out both games.
He did that quite well, didn't he, Gilly?
Yeah.
In the day. Yeah.
First one was a late elbow, and the next one was like a late stiff arm.
But you remember your first grade debut, because, I mean, I was ecstatic. I scored a 3-pointer. You actually scored 23 points in your first game, right?
Yeah.
Against Souths.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do, actually. I don't remember much in the lead up. I remember a fair bit of the game. And Souths have just beaten Brisbane in the pre-season competition. In those days, a pre-season comp. So I think they celebrated long and hard. And then, as I said, round 1, we come out and then we absolutely pumped it. Got 2 tries and what's that, mate? Yeah, but 8 goals or something.
Goals,
field goal, yeah. It was a great day.
Is it relief just getting through it, Joey, with a match like that? Are you, like, what's that sort of feeling at the end of it?
Well, I thought first grade debut would be so enjoyable, which it was. But even from day one, I had to carry my brother in that game too. So that went on for another 10 or 12 years, doing his tackling. Run there, I'll kick the ball down.
You guys are reuniting on TV on Friday night in The Greatest too for episode 2 of our grand finals.
Well, usually when we're talking to each other, it's when one of us get in trouble or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen that much, eh?
Fat, is the rumour true that you're making a cameo as well?
Yeah, I've had an early text from our producer, Sean Burke.
Geez, you sound overwhelmed.
I sort of half read it.
Yeah.
More work. Doesn't stop.
More work live from your living room. Brilliant. JT, we haven't heard from you on the early days and where it all started. What the best phone call along the way, whether it's getting your call up for your debut, Origin, tests, anyone stand out in particular?
The Origin one stands out. We were up here in Townsville. I had about half a dozen of my mates from Brisbane and Toowoomba come up for the game and watch the Cowboys play. And I got the call that I'd be making my Origin debut. And we'd obviously had a big night the night before, so we were pretty quiet. And then, received that call and couldn't believe it. I thought it was a G-up. One of the boys playing a prank. And then, we just had such a good night. It was such a good feeling to
What year was that, JT?
2005.
Okay.
That was when you come back in game 2 and 3 and schooled us.
Wow.
Finally.
Yeah, so it was quite an enjoyable week to be able to share that with my best mates that, had a big influence on me when I was growing up as a kid as well. So to have them there in the house and to be able to celebrate that, that phone call. And then obviously we won the first game, and then Matty Bowen took the intercept and ended Noddy's Origin career. And a bloke by the name of Andrew Johns comes in and schools us. I just remember those 2 games. I remember you kicking a 40-20 there, Joey, in game 2, I think it was. And you just didn't look back from there. You come back from a knee injury as well, I think. And Playing on the
Broke my jaw.
opposition. Yeah.
Joey, did you know much about JT then in that match?
Yeah, of course. Played against each other when he was at the Bulldogs, and you have little tip-offs in your career about different young blokes coming through, especially halves. And remember, in those days, you get to the ground and you see the under-20s before you play. So I used to get there early and watch J2 play, and it was only a matter of time.
I was down at Brookie one day watching Manly play Canterbury, and JT was playing reserve grade for Canterbury. It was obviously very early, and he kicked 9 from 10, and most of them were from the sideline. He just didn't. He was unbelievable. I thought, wow, he can play a bit. This kid, he's probably a future immortal now.
I remember when we played in 2006 when the Cowboys played Newcastle. They'd lost their first 2 games, and then their next 3 they won like 150 points to 20 points against, and we'd won our first 5 games. So the lead up to this game, the media were just in about JT versus Joey and all this type of stuff, and that really got underneath my skin because I'd only played a handful of first grade games by this time, and it really annoyed me that they would be comparing me to someone like Joey. So that really, just the pressure of that week leading into that game, and then I just remember that game, just hearing Joey go, "Get at him, there he is, JT, just Betty, there's Simpson, get into him, BK," just like, I was going, oh, this is going to happen all day.
Shark him.
Just straight in.
Shark him.
The last about 5 minutes, Matty Bowen chips over the top and regathers and wins the game for us. And, I just remember we had a bit of a conversation after that, but I remember when I got back into the sheds, just the built up from it, raw emotion just got the better of me, and I just broke down crying in the sheds because just the pressure. I've never had that type of pressure coming into a match before where, obviously people were comparing me to this great man. So, yeah, it was quite an emotional week.
Wow, it's amazing.
I should have retired after my first game. I got the 3 points. In the paper the next day, I got the 3 points, 3-2-1. I got the 3 points, player of the day. Well, I should have retired. Didn't get any better.
You made a pretty good Origin coach, though, Fat.
Oh, that was fun. Loved that. That was greatest 6 weeks of my life, in my sporting life. Yeah.
What about the training session?
Training sessions, they were pretty tough.
Hey, when they
were pretty tough.
When the day they
trained like crap every day. The main thing I did in that series was I just worked on our defence because we were a limited side, so to speak, but that's how you win. I always think heart and ticker will take you more further than ability in Origin. And I just worked on our defence, on our online defence. And during the series, I reckon we saved 20, 25 tries with online defence. So, it sort of worked.
It was a very low-scoring series too.
Yeah, it was.
Like 2-0, 4-0, I think.
Is that usually the test for what makes a great player too, Joe? Even particular in the halves as well, is that their dedication in defence as well as their attack? Is that something you do on?
Well, that's what happens when you first come in. You just get tested playing as teams, and they just send their back rowers at you. So, that J2 talking about that game, we spoke after the game, said, he held his hands up and you sent the big boys out. What are you doing, Fatty?
This is what I was looking for last week.
Here we go.
This is our new little puppy dog. This is Maggie May. Look at her. Gorgeous. I know.
It looks like one of my ex. I went out with this girl from Bulgaria. She had a beard like that. I used to wake up with a beard rash from her.
Where? Brace, best host in town, Brace.
Go on. Shot in.
You get tested. Especially early on. And that's literally sorts out the men from the boys.
Yeah. Geez, there were some big forwards back in your era too, Joe, when you first came onto the scene as well. That would have been coming right at you.
Oh, yeah. I remember one of my first year, we played Canberra. Now, this is when Canberra were they're the best team by a mile I've played in, 94 and 95. And I looked up at my edge, and opposite me was Mal Meninga and Bradley Clyde. And they just both took turns. By the end of the game, they were looking at me laughing, just going, no, go the other side. The brothers over there, you'll score for sure. More. No mas.
Just the thought of that actually hurts along the way.
Oh.
And throughout all that, I mean, one thing that comes to mind, like JT, when we see that photo a lot of you, Cooper Cronk and Cam Smith and Billy, all these photos of when those three came onto the scene sort of through the ranks together, then you go in there and you guys have sort of been a package deal, I guess, through that Queensland dynasty. When did you guys, because obviously Origin is always down the track as something you want to do, want to be a part of, and as you say, it was the biggest call-up you got and how emotional you were. What about the other players? Along that road, are you looking around going, okay, well, I know he's a Queenslander. When do you know that they're going to be on that journey for the long haul with you reckon?
Oh, well, I've known Smithy since I was, 10 years of age. So we've always played against each other and alongside each other through our teenage years. So, I was 18 NRL games and then he got called up for game 3 in 2003. And, that just spurred me on, wanting to be a part of it even more. I think Billy might have made his debut the following year and then I was the year after that. So, you just always... Once you start setting your goals, to play first grade, all right, you set your goals high and wanting to play Origin. And back in those early years, like the mid to early 2000s, 2002, 3 and 4, New South Wales was so dominant.
Yep.
And, I remember that QAS, Wayne Bennett set up this QAS academy thing for the young fellas that are coming through. And I remember being part of that. And, Matty Singh was in one of my roomies that time and just watching him, how he prepared for training, things like that. I was only 19 years of age, rooming with Matty Singh. I remember ringing mum going, I'm rooming with Matty Singh. Like, it was just a highlight for me. And, just being a part of that. And then, you just wanted to be a part of it. They give you an insight into what Origin's like, what's required. And a lot of it, because talent is the ability, just about everyone's, up here. I think, in Origin, it's what's between the ears, the mental side of it that gets you through in Origin. The success that we had a lot of players at the height of their game through those years.
Isn't it amazing that probably one of the greatest players our game's ever seen, he's 5'6", 7", and got a body like a pear, no shoulders, but he's like you'd expect our greatest player to be, 6'5" and 115 kilos, but Cameron, it's all up here with him, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like, he's just the way that he controls the game. I've never seen anything like it. And, I've been blessed to play alongside Joey, my Australian debut. Plays alongside Lockie, who I looked up to as a teenager. And, those two were the boys that I really tried to mold my game on, because that's when all the video technology came out. So I could watch their left to right passing, their right to left passing. I could watch their tackling on their left shoulder, their right shoulder, and all this type of stuff, and just try to pick bits and pieces from their games. But Cameron Smith, to be playing at hooker 80 minutes every week, in the toughest position on the field, and he's just mastered it. And that's what, I always used to say, that Joey and Lockie were like 6-7 sets ahead of the rest of the football field, where Smithy's about 8, 9, 10 sets. So when he's got the ball in his hands, he's setting it up for what he's going to do, 8 or 9
What was
sets.
What was he like at 10, 12, 14, 15? Was he a gun back then?
I wouldn't say gun. Like, he was good. We were both, playing in those junior rep teams. But, it wasn't until he sort of got a bit older that he started to really, his footy started to take off. And, we've heard the story of him only playing a handful of state cup games, and then he got called in for his debut. And then, playing a handful, 18 NRL games, and then playing State of Origin, and hadn't missed one. Played nearly 42 Origins straight. So
freakish, isn't he?
It's remarkable.
He's the best. He's the best I've ever seen. He is so good.
Don't forget the King. I mean, King was in my era. He was the best by far.
He's before our era. So
I'll tell you how good he is. We were playing a test match in 1988, second test in Brisbane, and the Pommies kicked the ball down to our quarter, about 15 metres out. Tackle one. Wally says to me, I'm on the inside of him. Wally says, mate, hang there. I'll put you through a hole in 3 tackles. I said, you're an idiot. I said, man, no one's put me through a hole since 1980. He went, no, just stay there. I'll put you through a hole in 3 tackles. So he goes, bang, bang, bang. Next thing, he gets the ball and he draws 3 and he puts me, mate, it's like the Sydney Hens. And I'm galloping in this free run. I reckon I ran 30 metres, 40 metres. And I always thought Martin Afire ran me down. You know, one of the quickest winger of all time. I remember this. When I guest speak, I talk about it. So I actually looked it up on YouTube. And it's 6 minutes into the second half of that game, 46 minutes of that game on YouTube. And I watched it. And I went, now where's Martin Afire? I went, oh, it was that fat halfback, Andy Gregory. He was about 20 stone halfback. He ran me down. But, mate, it was amazing. As I remembered it. He said, hang there. And I just hung. And then 3 seconds later, I'm through this hole and away. And it was incredible. That's how good he was. Like, he was the Cameron Smith and the Joey of our era, yeah.
You and the King are pretty tight, Fat. Every time we have a Suncorp game and you guys are there, you got that the handshake you do where you grab each other.
Yeah. It's a thing we developed. And we just walk... It's a bit bizarre. I reach down and grab his ankle. He grabs my ankle. And we give it a shake. Yeah,
I think you got to say you reach around.
Did that come from anywhere in particular, Fat?
Not really. We just developed it one year, and then every time we see each other now we do it. And he wanted to do it before the first game, Manly and Brisbane, 1988 at Lang Park. He wanted to do it. He's coming towards me. We're on the field to toss the coin. He's going, we're doing it. And I'm going, no, because Bob Fulton was in the crowd. And if I had been nice or anything to Wally, I would have got my ass whipped. So no. And he went, you cat. And I just shook his hand normally. Anyway, then they spanked us 44-10.
Wow.
Long live the King.
The King, he's the best.
Yeah, I could sit here and talk on YouTube forever, fellas. We should wrap this up. Any tips for everyone at home? We've got another week of isolation ahead of a long weekend too. Any advice for our many viewers out there? JT from Townsville, anything? Stay safe.
Stay safe. Obviously, Easter's coming up this weekend, so there's been a lot of talk about people staying in their own suburbs, people staying at in their own area. So I think Australia is one of the best countries in the world at containing this virus, and that's due to the regulations we got in place. So I think it's also due to the fact that people are listening and doing what they're told from the experts. So stay safe this Easter long weekend, and make sure that you spend some time with the family if you got them there.
Well said, Fat. You're a binger. You love your TV series. What are you hooking into at the moment?
I've finished a Tiger King. Now I'm into.
What about that? I
told you it's unbelievable. It's like a different world.
Joey, you've got to watch it. I know you're not big on it. Just get on there and it's on Netflix. Just watch it.
I'm now watching a thing called The Capture.
One episode in.
Yeah, mate. Mate,
keep going,
it's fantastic.
JT. Joey,
I'm watching a thing called The Capture, which is very good. It's on ABC iView. So if you do get sick of Channel 9, I know that's impossible, just flick on to ABC iView. But I mentioned my dad last week. I got a lot of nice comments about my dad. And look, he's doing well this week. And we've been chatting every second day. And he reminded me of a story back when, during my early days, 9, 10, 11, every Sunday afternoon, Mum and Dad's door would be closed. I'd be out in the back. Seriously, I'd be out in the backyard playing footy with my younger brother Russell, or I'd be had the stocking with the cricket ball and going bang, bang, bang under the house, blah blah blah. So I said, geez, because normally we thought they're having a sleep, So anyway, it's about 3:00, and I want to see my dad. I want him to come down and kick a ball. So I snuck the door open and I looked in, and I think I'm 10, and they're under the sheet, and it looks like they're wrestling. So I opened the door, and he reminded me of this story, and I said, Dad, can I have a wrestle too? Anyway, he just looked at me. His face was quite red and a bit sweaty. And he went, get out now. Okay, Dad. Closed the door. I only found out when I was about 38 what he was doing. Obviously, the Sunday matinee man. Every Sunday. Good on you, Georgie boy.
Look, we're glad to hear he's doing well. Joey, before we go, any books to recommend? I know you're doing a lot of reading. We're probably not going to get you to watch Tiger King.
I'm actually going to go for a wrestle right now. So.
Yeah, but you'll do it alone.
If anyone can hear some screaming in Bronte in the next 2.5 minutes, don't call the coppers.
My missus came home 20 minutes ago. I raised the left eyebrow and did one of these ones, but nothing.
Brilliant.
Nothing.
Thank you, fellas.
All right, good finish, fellas.
Joey, JT, on
See
fire.
you later.
See all those YouTubers out there. Thanks for watching. Catch you next week for more story time.